Now, we move to other members, and I call on Deputy Ciara Keogh.
Sunday was a proud, historic, and I think you'll agree, unforgettable day where we welcomed Prime Minister Mark Carney to Westport, Mayo, but more importantly to his ancestral family home in Ahagara village. And I want to thank him and his wife Diane, as well as yourself and your wife Mary, for coming and for being so gracious with your time. I think it's also really important to thank the chairperson of Ahagara Community Council, Colette O'Toole, and all of the community there for the powerful moment that they took for their small village where they were on the international stage, and the amount of work that they put into making the place look spectacular. Ruth Herity and her staff in the Westport Town Hall and all of Mayo County Council, who put on a civic reception that showcased the warmth and the pride that we have in our community. The Hughes family in the historic Westport estate, as well as Joe Gilmore and all the staff at Knock. I think you will agree with me, Taoiseach, that this was a deep, meaningful homecoming that celebrated the enduring bond between Ireland and Canada. And I think anybody who painted a wall, swept a street, waved a flag, or came out to just see the occasion deserves a big bula bus. But today, Taoiseach, I want to talk about housing. I do welcome yesterday's announcement for the Lodge Road in Westport that was successfully one of the 82 projects under the new Housing Infrastructure Investment Fund. And this does have the potential to unlock 200 houses on council land and potentially 300 more. And I see my colleague Minister John Cummings there. But I want to talk today about the thresholds for social housing. I know that in 2023, all local authorities got an increase of 5,000 under the Housing for All review, but Mayo currently is under Band 3, which is just 30,000. And this threshold is locking people out of social housing for earning too much. Meanwhile, they're not earning enough to survive the private market. I do understand that this is a complex challenge and that if you increase the housing threshold, you might add to the already overwhelmed list. But right now, what option do I have to a working family who are slightly above the threshold, who maybe get a notice to quit and present in my office as homeless? I have for them emergency accommodation 60 kilometres away from their jobs, away from the schools and away from the community. And because they're above the housing threshold, there is no hope out. I was contacted by chairperson of the Housing SPC, Councillor Peter Flynn, on behalf of the members there to ask if the bands would be reviewed. And they pointed out that our neighbours in Galway are in band 2, which is €35,000, which is 5,000 more than Mayo. And I think when we look at the prices in Mayo last year, in Westport, the average price was 327,000, whereas in Kilchama in Mayo, it was 155,000. And this shows the significant variation across the county. I did raise this in a PQ in December, and I was informed that the department is examining the existing income limits and work is ongoing. But I'd really appreciate your thoughts on this today, Taoiseach. Thank you.
First of all, could I say that I couldn't be more with you in terms of the wonderful day we had on Sunday with the visit of Mark Carney and his wife Diana back to their hometown of And I want to pay tribute to Colette O'Toole and the entire community and Father Todd and all involved really for the celebration of the Mass there, and the just a wonderful sense of community spirit, which illustrates the strength of community spirit in Ireland. It's still very alive and well. And there's a certain degree of pride that the grandson of one of their own was returning as a Prime Minister of Canada. In addition, strengthening also the political and the economic links between Canada and Ireland and Canada and the European Union. And we'll have more of that during the Irish presidency of the European Union. Westport, Rosalind Herity, again, the people of Mayo did themselves proud in terms of how they organised at community-based level. And that was very evident in the civic reception. I just want to give a mention to Quimshu, which Chuck and Mairead Dunford created, which facilitates special needs children participating in live traditional music. And it was just fantastic to witness, and it was their own child coming back home in the car, said to them, when will I be playing in the flat? And they went to Coltis, and there's Coltis branch in May have started this, and now 2 or 3 Coltis branches are doing it, which I think is really sending out a signal to the rest of the country and the world that we want Coltis branches ultimately trying to embrace this across the length of it. And they put on a show and a performance which was heartwarming and fantastic. And their daughter Hannah led the way, and Hannah was a wonderful personality and performed a number of instruments and sang and so on. It was just a wonderful experience. In terms of social housing income thresholds, I've spoken to the Minister, and we've had discussions on this, Minister James Brown, and I know Minister John Cummins as well. And I think yesterday's announcement was very significant, the billion, which will unlock a lot of and thousands of houses the Minister's announced. In terms of the social income, I'm in favour of increasing social housing income thresholds substantially and significantly. I think one area that we need to look at, there are issues in terms of the coupling of that with housing assistance payments and so on, but I think we need to bite the bullet on this, because I think working people need an opportunity to access to social housing, particularly workers who will not be at a level that they can borrow. And I think I said to the department, look, there's all these traditional reasons why you can't do something. We did it in 2023 with 5,000 increase. So I think family composition should be weighted more as well. If a family of 2 children and 3 children, that there should be a higher weight to family composition and eligibility for a social house also. And it's interesting, there's been misleading sort of articles and so on. I mean, because we're at 10,000 social houses nearly now a year.
Deputy Keogh will respond.
And I deal with that argument.
Thank you.
Garmaga, Taoiseach, I absolutely agree. Hannah was the star of the show, and that whole group, that powerful moment of inclusion was really special. And I really welcome your comments, and I'm happy to hear that you're really talking about that family composition, because I talk about, Councillor Donna Sheridan also contacted me, and she's working at the moment with a separated single mother that has 2 children who's trying to leave the family home. She's only slightly above the threshold, but doesn't qualify for social housing. And so she's looking at her options. Does she ask her boss to reduce her hours so that she can come under the threshold? Does she stay in the family home where things have broken down? Does she potentially accept substandard housing or move away from her community? She's salaried at 36,000, and even with the allowances for her children, she just doesn't qualify. And I think Councillor Sheridan put it really strongly when she said we're excluding our SNAs, our carers, and the people who keep the backbone of our country going from social housing. And so we really do need to increase the thresholds. And I'm glad to go back to the Housing SPC and say that you agree with that and are moving towards that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and indeed, clearly Sean Carey as well, we paid tribute to him for the leadership he gave to the council at the weekend. On one of the challenges, somebody could be on a list for 4 years, 5 years, even longer in cities, and then an increase in income could suddenly take them out of the eligibility. So we have to watch that as well. So look, the Minister is examining it, and will come back to us with his proposals on this. I will come back to the House, and the Minister will come back to the House when we've that, because there's many cases similar to what you've just articulated there and illustrated, and that's the general direction of travel that we want to go in as a government.